Hello everybody, this is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. Today we are going to do a color wheel arrangement. So we have a series going with different color wheel arrangements, but today, and I may have already done a monochromatic, but today we're going to do another monochromatic arrangement. So monochromatic means one color, different shades, but one color. So today we're going to use my favorite, yellow. Now, when you're doing a monochromatic arrangement, really, if you want to make a statement, this really will make quite a statement. Shades of color in the same color family really is so much fun, and it makes such a statement, in my opinion. So I'm going to start out with more of a short, compact vase. This is just a glass vase I have filled with fresh water, added a touch of fresh floral food to feed the flowers. I'm going to start out with just a touch of foliage. So the foliage of choice today is going to be leather leaf. I'm going to take my leather, I'm going to break that stem and just tuck that right into, I gotta grab my garbage can, tuck that right into my vase. Now, when you go to add foliage to your vase, be sure that the foliage does not fall below the water line. Now, the reason we suggest that is because when the foliage falls below that water line, it causes bacteria to grow. And so the less bacteria in the water, the longer the flowers will live. So I'm just taking a little bit of this leather leaf and adding it right into my vase. So it's not real fancy, it's just kind of stuck in there, okay? Next I'm gonna come in with some of my beautiful yellow blooms. So let's talk about which blooms we chose for this arrangement. I have Alstroemeria lilies. Now, I love Alstros because they're very long-lasting blooms. So they are also called Peruvian lilies. It's funny because I really didn't know that they were called Peruvian lilies until well after college, but we've always called them Alstroemeria lilies. Now, they are a sweet little lily. There's usually 5 to 6, sometimes even 7 little blooms on a stem. I'm going to take and go ahead and remove any of the foliage that might fall below that water line. I'm using a floral knife and I'm going to cut that stem at an angle. And I'm going to tuck it deep down into this container. Now, Alstros are a very long-lasting bloom and honestly make a really pretty arrangement if you just put lots of Alstros in the same container. If you just did an arrangement of Alstros, they really make a pretty arrangement. But this is a very long-lasting bloom, so if you want something that lasts, Alstros should be your choice. Now, another thing about them is they come in tons of colors. Pinks and reds and burgundies and whites and yellows and oranges, almost every color in the rainbow. Alstroemeria lilies come in all colors. Next I'm going to come in with my Solidago aster. Now, if you've watched me design any at all, you know I use Solidago a lot. It's just my favorite filler flower. Well, number one, it's yellow, and so that's what I love about it. But it's another very long-lasting filler, and it's very inexpensive. So it's not a very expensive filler flower. So that's what I really like about it also. And so I'm just taking it and I'm stripping any foliage that fall low in on that stem. I'm cutting that stem at an angle and I'm just tucking that right down into my vase. So you can see I've got flowers all the way around. Strip that foliage, cut that stem at an angle, and tuck that right down into my vase. Next, we're gonna come in with a few happy sunflowers. Now, let me just say, I believe if you had to rank happiness from a flower, if you laid out all of the flowers and you had to see which one was the happiest, a sunflower and a Gerber daisy might just be the happiest flowers. It just is just such a fun flower to me. I really like it. So I'm just taking those stems and cutting them at an angle and just pushing them right into that arrangement. This one I cut a little shorter than I would prefer, so I am going to cut it at an angle and cut it a little shorter and tuck it on the back side of that vase. And I'm going to measure this one this time. So I'm going to measure it, and what I'm doing is I'm holding my stem right up against, and it's on the other side of the you can see where I have it on the other side of the table. So I'm just kind of holding it up, and I'm going to say, okay, well, here's where my vase ends, right here. I'm going to cut that at an angle. I'm going to tuck it into my container, and if it's a little too high, which I don't think it is, I'm going to cut it just a slight bit more. But if you'll measure it kind of beside the vase, it's going to help you a little bit with not cutting it too short. Okay, there we go. So there is our 2 happy sunflowers, and I put a third one over here on the opposite side. Next, I'm going to come in with some pincushion protea. Again, this is one of my favorite summer flowers. Pincushion protea is in the tropical family, and these actually, if you look close, it looks almost as if you've taken some little sewing pins and popped them right into a pincushion. But they're little pincushion protea. Now they come in different colors. They come in red and orange and yellow. The orange is almost a really flamey color, a little deeper than this. This comes off with a little bit of an orange tone, but it does have a yellow center, so it works perfectly in our monochromatic color scheme. I'm going to take my knife and cut that at an angle. Now, the one thing I will say about the protea, it has somewhat of a woody stem. The stem's a little tough, so when you go to cut that with your knife, it's a little tough to cut. You may want to use, my Rose has my shirt over here, you may want to use some snips when cutting it because it's a little tough. It takes a little work to cut it. Turn that arrangement around. Look at how fun those protea are in that arrangement. All right, next we're going to come in with some beautiful roses, yellow roses. So we have bright yellow roses. So I'm going to take this rose. I'm going to remove some of this foliage because I don't need it on this stem, and I'm going to remove any petals that don't look pretty. I'm going to just go ahead and pop those off. And so there's my pretty rose. I'm not going to wire this rose because it's going to be in a compact arrangement. I'm going to take my knife, cut that rose at an angle, that stem at an angle, and I'm just going to pop him right in. So I tucked him there. Now you can leave the foliage on these stems if you want to, but this arrangement being so compact, I really don't need that foliage, so I go ahead and remove it. The foliage is not going to hurt the arrangement in any way, so if you want to leave the foliage on, you just don't want it to fall below that water line, okay? So again, I'm just pulling off any petals that don't look pretty. You're not hurting that rose when you do that. All right, so there are my roses. Now the last flower that I've chosen to use are these pretty yellow daisies. Now another very long-lasting bloom, and really another little happy flower. But this is a standard daisy. Daisies are chrysanthemums. They're in the chrysanthemum family, and they come in lots of varieties. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking my floral knife and I'm cutting the individual blooms right off that stem. Now, then I'm placing them here and there in this arrangement. I'm going to leave this one on a longer stem. Chrysanthemums are always very long-lasting flowers. They last a really long time, and they come in tons of colors. So they're really a perfect flower to fill in any arrangement, and they're very inexpensive. So we actually got these daisies on a special this week. And so here in our shop, we're doing daisies and alstroemeria lilies for $1 a stem. Because when I get them on a good deal, I like to pass that deal right on over to the customer. And so we have standard daisy and alstroemeria lilies. I don't know why this isn't going down into that vase. There it goes. For $1 this week. So if you need a little pick-me-up and you want a little bundle of flowers, we have got some really pretty blooms for pretty inexpensive, and sometimes that is a nice little happy, right? Okay, so there's our flowers. It's an all yellow flower arrangement, but you can see the different tones of yellow. So my roses are almost a softer yellow than the deeper yellow of my sunflowers. But I love how all of those yellows come together and they really make an impact. Next, we're going to add a little bit of foliage. We're going to add some pretty foliage to this container. I have some silver dollar eucalyptus, and very honestly, it does not take much. A little goes a long way with silver dollar yew. So I'm just going to pull out 1 or 2 stems, just like this. I'm going to strip that down. And I'm going to tuck that right down into that container. Now see how it kind of gives us a little bit of whimsy here? I'm going to take 1 more small piece, and I'm going to come here. I don't love how this is sticking out here. This is a little bit of leather leaf. I'm just pinching that off because I didn't think it was so pretty. And then I'm going to add just this small stem, cut it in an angle, of eucalyptus, and I'm just going to tuck that right down at the lip of that vase. And there we have it. There is an all yellow monochromatic arrangement. Guys, thank you so much for being here with me today. If you have any questions about how we arrange flowers or any questions about our color wheel series, please don't hesitate to ask. Write down in the comments. If you like videos like this, check us out over on Facebook. We go live every afternoon on Facebook making beautiful arrangements. We'd love for you to join us there. If you have not already subscribed to our channel, please be sure to do that right down below. There's a little bell. If you click on it, it'll let you know when a new video has been downloaded. Guys, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you all real soon. Thank you so much.